For the audition for Jan, when you did The Office, do you remember, was the rest of the cast kind of played out? Were there people that were already signed on that you wanted to work with for that?
No. No, I auditioned for the pilot. So no one had even made the pilot. I was in the pilot. So the pilot was, and actually it was funny because it was kind of a last minute. I remember that I went over and got the sides from the office and from the casting office and stepped outside and worked on it for like 20 minutes and then went in and did it.
Oh, that quickly?
Yeah, it was a really kind of a last minute thing. And it was interesting because the next day after that audition, I tested with Allison Jones, who was our casting director. She was doing another pilot that I tested for, and I was sitting in the hallway, and she came out, and I was next to go in, and I was testing, with some other, I guess, a couple other actresses, and she came out, and she said, you were so great yesterday, and this was the audition for The Office, and I said, oh, thank you, and that character, at that time, Jan was a guest star on a pilot, possible recurring, but this one that I was testing for was a starring role in a series that I think had been picked up for it was just a pilot. It hadn't been picked up.
But it was the starring role.
But it was the starring role. Oh. And I said to her, well, hopefully I'll get, I hope I'll get this and hopefully I'll get both. And she was like, I really want you to get that, because she knew, she had a feeling that was going to be really special. And, that was what happened. I didn't get the other, and the other one just sort of went away. They made their pilot, but it never became a thing.
You had already done so much incredible work at that point.
Yeah.
Did you have a good gut feeling about it?
I thought it was great. I think there were a lot of things about it that were new to me. I'd never seen that many, writers on set. I mean, the writers of The Office were always really present, and that was a really new and fresh collaborative experience, and I'm a real collaborator. That's one of my greatest skill sets and one of my greatest joys in life. So I was really into that when the writers were showing up and they were changing lines and we were talking about things, and the creator Greg Daniels was always very curious about what was resonating and what was working and what wasn't working, and that was really, really special for me. But whether or not it was going to be what it was, I mean, no. I was also pretty wary at that time. I had done something that was probably my 13th pilot was The Office, or maybe my 12th or 13th or something. I don't even know. But it was definitely a long line of pilots that had been short-lived series or failed pilots, and so I just was taking it all with a grain of salt. I didn't even believe we were a hit until we won that first SAG award, and I had to carry that around all night and woke up the next day not being able to lift my arm because my bicep was so exhausted. Because the base is a marble base, and it's a bronze statue and a marble base, and I mean, you're carrying that around all night like this, and I mean, literally, it was just like I was like and I remember going, oh, I have physical proof we're a hit. Yeah. And that was what it took for me to realize we were.
Did it feel like there was a huge boom even after once it went on Netflix and with COVID and people kind of started re-watching it with now on all these streaming platforms?
I mean, what really has happened with that is that it just lives on forever. That's the thing. It's crazy how it just continues to touch people and new generations, so that I have fans that are 10 years old and I have fans that are, 65 or 70. So it's just because our first group of fans when we were on NBC, and then we were the first show to really be successful on iTunes, streaming on iTunes.
For people to purchase?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was really what we were the first hit on iTunes. And those fans were mostly 40-year-old men at the time, because they could kind of track that stuff more than I think they can now with the streamers. I think that the networks really had that down. They were able to really find out who was really watching the shows, and that was who was watching us. Now it's everybody. It's women, men, young, older, it's crazy.
Are there any memories from The Office that really stick out to you as like that was a great shooting day?
The whole episode of Dinner Party was, it was so fun because it was so awkward, the whole thing. It was in a tiny, tiny little condo.
What town?
In like way in the valley, deep in the valley, and it was just so hot. It was a crazy hot summer that year. And the writer's strike interrupted us, so we had to stop and then come back. The whole thing was just it was so perfectly off because that's what the episode was.
Yeah.
It just all matched itself. We were like all just too close and everything. They had to keep turning the air conditioning off for sound, and it was like too hot and too close, and all that really informed I think how brilliant that episode is.
The moment of throwing a Dundee at a TV. Did you hit it every time?
I did. Thank you very much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and all those crew guys, they were really turned on by that.
Yeah.
That was pretty cute.
The filming style of it is so cool because it's so untraditional.
Yeah.
Is the lighting crew there? Like, are the lights set? Or are they kind of like shimmying it around?
In The Office, everything is really set. Like at The Office, there's really very little lighting changes. It's like basically the light is there and it's there and that's it. When we were on location, like we were for the dinner party, everything had to be lit, but it was there wasn't a lot of lighting on that show. It wasn't like light the scene and take an hour. And, there's some shows that are very beautifully lit, and that was not The Office.
How'd you like working with that camera style? As opposed to like traditional.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun. It was really fun, because we were like, it was, the camera was a character. And so our operators were characters, and, and what was nice about the show is that you could engage with them, and you can actually acknowledge that they're there. So that's fun too. And a lot of times you're doing, with Golden Vanity, like there's scenes where he's like in my face and I'm just sort of like, and that's also fun because that's like the blend of the transparency of that other person that isn't there at all. So The Office was fun because it was unusual that we got to be acknowledging of them being there.
Was it weird working with, on the acting side, that didn't make sense. Is it weird working with actors who are also the writers of the show?
No, it's great.
It's all just like feels.
Yeah, they're just creative and, bringing their creative chops in all different ways to it.
What about in The Office, when you guys are doing the lawyer stuff at the law firm? Is that at a real law firm, or is that just on a soundstage in a set?
That was a set. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a set. Mm-hmm.
Are many of the lines improvised?
Yeah, we always improvised. We always did it as written, and then we always also improvised it a little bit. But we would always improvise around the context of the scene.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Actually, somebody put together on YouTube or something, or on Instagram, I don't know, like a little amalgamation of me dancing in different strokes and then me dancing in Dinner Party episode of The Office, and that's it's such a cute little, because both times I had to kind of try to be a little bit off the beat and just not really, I wanted to just. Because I felt like with the Jan moment, I wanted her to just be a little like off the beat, and just so. And with different strokes, I was supposed to not be able to know how to dance, and Todd Bridges' character was supposed to be teaching me to dance.
With Jan, the connection between her and Michael was so electric, like right from the start. Mm-hmm. Did you and Steve Carrell have that right from day one of filming it?
Yeah, we did. There was just something very palpable about it. I remember sitting at the lunch table on the pilot with Steve and Greg Daniels and myself, and I remember us all saying, like, there's something very interesting between Jan and Michael. And I think that chemistry, like if we get so lucky as to get to do more of these, we should have them hook up sometime, And
then was that
so we all felt it. Yeah, we all felt it.
When you read the script for when they actually finally do hook up,
yeah,
did that feel like, oh wow, we're really getting character development here?
Yeah, it really was perfect. It was just perfect, and just the way that happened in the cocktail, episode was hilarious with where they were at Chili's, and the first kiss that they have is just so ridiculous. And just how mad she is at him, and how that comes out in like sexual frustration. And you could just see them, like really going at it in the bedroom because there's so much sexual frustration.
Do you think they had a great time in Sandals, Jamaica?
I think that they probably did. I think she had him wrapped around her finger. And I think and I think he was just like, couldn't believe how lucky he was. He couldn't believe the catch that he got. And I think that the dynamic was so dysfunctional that it was like so perfectly dysfunctional. And I just bet that they had like some pretty great sex.
I mean, they filmed it. I'm sure they did.
I think they had some pretty great sex. Yeah.